Welcome to this episode of the Million Dollar Mastermind, where we get real world insights on winning from people who have accomplished amazing things. I'm your host, Larry Weidel, and let's get going. I am talking with my good buddy from Brooklyn, Chris Achong.
We doing, Coach?
The traveling man. And Chris has been a success everywhere he has gone because he takes responsibility, takes charge, he's developing new skills, and he likes winning. He's like Larry. He likes winning.
Have to win.
That's kind of a qualification of being one of my buddies. It's like, you got to like winning, and you got to be focused on winning. And if you do that, you'll have some accomplishments in your resume, to talk about, and you'll have some people that you've brought along with you that you have helped benefit from your success. And so
Absolutely.
As you've gone out there, one of the things that separates winners from losers is they finish things.
Right.
And our good buddy Art Williams said, reason I wrote the book Serial Winner was the main reason for it was, he said, all the world is full of people who want to do something and almost do something great. They want to, they try it, they almost do it. He said, we need more people who actually do it. We got to go from almost to doing it. And then there's people that, of the people who ever do anything great, rarely do people repeat. It's like one-hit wonders.
Right.
But then we all know, again, the book, this is the introduction to the book, was we all know people that seem to always be able to bounce back strong, go from one positive thing to another. They might get diverted, they might change paths, but somehow they turn around. And if they have something negative happen, they minimize the damage, and they don't take a molehill and turn it into a mountain. They take mountain-sized problems and turn it into a molehill. And now their first reaction might be to whine and this whole thing that winners don't whine and complain, that's garbage. You know what I'm saying? And moan and groan, and winners groan and moan, but the difference is then they go and fix it.
Right.
You can see, I've seen so many top guys in my life that in business, it's like, good Lord. You heard him whining at this, he'll never recover from this, that, and the other. And you check back in a week later, and that he's put that thing in the rearview mirror. He saw the thing, he's got a whole new thing going there. It's like, what about so-and-so? Oh, boom, 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 I shifted gears, I did this, that, and the other. He can't even remember what the problem was, And so don't, I say this about Putin. They see Putin now, oh, he's got Parkinson's. Oh, he's bloated. Oh, his health is going down. Hey, maybe so, but the guy survived a long time. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like, that Kim Jong-un or something, the North Korea guy. Yeah, right. He's sick and he's got, all these, but somehow the guy, that's what Trump said about that Kim Jong-un. He said, that guy has survived a whole lot of stuff. He's a tough little cookie. And so the thing about winners, not that they're winners, but they're survivors, in their world, they've dominated. And so the thing is that people that get things done are able to, they might complain and rant and rave and have, and the emotional thing. Don't mistake the emotional response for what they're going to do, because they just blowing off steam real quick, on a rant. But winners, they'll go back and start to make smart moves. Winners make smart moves. And if you look at what they do, what I was always encouraged, Chris, by the fact that good ideas don't care who use them.
Nope.
And that's like, my calls and everything that I've always done. It's like, I want to pick the brains of the people that are currently hot, because, if someone were to come into your gallery or someone to meet you, they might find all kind of stuff they don't like about you, Chris, and the same thing about me. We might be very offensive. People might be, they're probably already offended about the Kim Jong-un and the Putin talk, but the thing is that you don't need to look at what you don't like or the things offend you. If someone is doing well and they're achieving things, like, look and see what they're doing right, because somehow whatever little thing it is that they're doing right is good enough, powerful enough to override all the negative damage they're doing to themselves. This is why some of those CEOs we were talking about that rant and rave and have the temper tantrums in the office, they still win. They still
win, yeah.
Goods, and then they survive for years past where you think the people would tolerate them. And so as you look at this thing, what do you notice about finishing the job, and what are some of the role models and some of the things you've seen and techniques that you've used to actually get stuff done and keep yourself on track?
The one thing that comes to my mind when you're speaking that I coach a lot on, and I tell people, the average person waits till there's an emergency to have a sense of urgency. But successful people, we have it all the time. Last month we had one of my best months ever in the history of me being in business. I've been in business 25 years, and I was still waking up. I started waking up 4 o'clock every morning, almost like it never happened. And you might go, well, that's cycle. Well, it just, something clicks on. And, then I coach our leaders. You have to have a sense of urgency when you're running a company or you're running a business. They have to see you more excited. They have to see you with that sense of, and it never goes away. I don't care. It has nothing to do with the money. It has nothing to do with the winning. It's something that just clicks back on all the time. It's a fire that never gets, that never stops. It just keeps going. And what I've noticed is a lot of the people that are successful that are around me, they have a sense of urgency. You can have a lot going on. You can have tons of money saved up, tons of real estate, all that cool stuff, but you still wake up with a sense of urgency. Not that it's not enough. It's, this is just who I've become. So when you learn how to develop that sense of urgency, which is you just understanding where you come from, sometimes we got to be a little bit more clear on where we're at right now in life. And I always tell people we're one generation from poverty. One generation, one generation ago, we was in poverty, the majority of us, and it's a high possibility one generation from now, our family name could be back in poverty. And so we have to put things in place and make sure that we do things the right way. I was speaking to an Uber driver a couple of days ago, yesterday actually. I was celebrating the guy that bought the Twitter. I celebrate business, when people get fired up about sports games and stuff like that. I don't do sports at all. So, you can get me excited about, but they'll celebrate the Jets win. And I celebrate when I see a business person win. It's almost like a game to me too. That's what I look at, because I actually have a chance to make some money at it too. Okay. Right. Which I haven't yet, but we'll see how that goes. But, I don't know if I went over that question, a little bit past what the question was, but go ahead.
You look around, you travel a lot, and you see a lot of businesses, you see a lot of people, a lot of successful people. What stands out to you? What have you picked up? And especially, what did you pick up that you modeled? When you see people doing these things, you can incorporate that approach into your life, a lot. And one of the things about even the big hitter call that we do on Mondays is like, I always like to hear if someone has a better way of saying something than I do. A lot, it's a lot like saying things like you were talking about honey and vinegar, and being direct with people, what you do with a smile on your face. A lot of that has to do with also the words that you use. There's just like, some of the actors, especially in the past, I don't know actors now, but they just had a way of talking. And of course, they were just reading the words they were on the page, but I shouldn't give them too much credit. But they just seemed to be, just flowed, made people feel better. There was a graciousness to them or something. But all of that stuff, you hear a great phrase, you can use that phrase. If you hear a great explanation for something, you can use that explanation. And so what, like you said, you learned from a book, or you heard somewhere that the higher earning people get up earlier in the morning and get on the attack earlier in the morning. What are some things that you could think back that you incorporated early on that have been part of who you are right now, that have like you say, informed what you've become because you just adopted that into your style?
A big part of even today, I don't surround myself around anyone that's going in the wrong direction. I won't go to any environment that that there's not people that that want to go in the right direction. I'm at a critical point in my life. I'm still at a critical point in my life. At this phase of my life, I can't have anyone pulling me down. I don't care, who it is. Okay, so I've always kind of like made sure I separated myself and get myself around the right people. I remember even when I didn't have money, I used to every Sunday night around 8, 9 o'clock, I would go have a cocktail. And usually I could only afford one cocktail. This is early on in business. And I would go to the city, I would go to the plaza, the Oak Room, and I'd go to some of the real high-end hotels where only billionaires and millionaires hang out. And I would go sit at the bar. So I think a big part of it is just, making sure you're around the right people. And then when I couldn't be around the right people, I listened to audios, I read books. I liked a lot of biographies on different, on just the strategy, how people win. And it's always like a up, down, then a win, then a up, down, then a win. So what it did was when times was tough, I knew that wasn't forever.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the things I did, and, I've been blessed to have so many great mentors. You're one of them also, that I've always just been there to just say the right things and just be a leader from the front. Appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. And you're awfully nice to say that. But when the thing about that, Chris, is you could say these things to the world, but only a few people pick up on them. So the fact that you picked up on it, the credit goes to you, for that. And so as you, what are specific things that you find yourself saying over and over again?
It's I want to be happy. I think, so that's one of the greatest self-improvements now is how to be happy. It's not money. It's not all that stuff, how to be happy. And you really got to figure out, ways of having a business. I think the healthiest business is a business where you can actually help other people, where you can, not help other people. I learned giving money and all that stuff is one form of helping, but it's not the highest form of helping. The highest form of helping, in my opinion, is when you teach someone how to become successful. You teach them how to become an example. You teach them how to, for instance, rent in the office to them. And I asked all the questions, how to get down to, can you put this in the lease? Make sure that we're not responsible for the AC ducts and, where, and all the things you got to say, and all these I learned from experience. But when you teach someone how to do that, and so now this guy is going to go open up a business where he's going to get a ton of people to make money, which he already has. He has pretty decent size, but he's just getting a bigger office. So now his business is going to grow. He's going to make more money. I got so many leaders that work with me that they've bought their families' houses. If I could tell you how many charities that, my organization run a year, you'd be blown away. And it was just I feel like it was just the other day. where I was bringing them to charities that I was doing and saying, just help me give out the money. Just help me do this, help me do that. And it was only, I was the only one that was doing charities. Now there's, 15, 20 guys that they have. Oh, they're the number one guy in the church that tithes the most, it's all these different things. So I think that's where, I would say that my sweet spot is, I'm happy. I just like being happy. I do the things that's happy. I don't always rub people the right way all the time,
Right.
but hey, can't please everybody.
Yeah,
I'm happy.
when
So as long as I'm happy.
as long as you're happy. Chris, I wanted to ask you, this is a extension of everything you've been saying. It kind of ties it together. And this is doing the extras, because when you think about it, Chris, when you do the extras, because, the sense of urgency all the time, getting up early, putting this in there, whether they can explain it or not, people that are successful have found that when you do the extras, you multiply the payoff. You know what I'm saying? You can, we come in and we learn skills. That's the fundamentals and everything. But fundamentals are no good unless you use them. The value of fundamentals comes in when you actually use the fundamentals. And so you go to greatness by how you use your fundamentals. You got to learn the fundamentals, like you said, learn the skills. But then you go to greatness by doing the normal stuff and then do extra. Like if you're an NFL player, what they say when they're interviewing, like the all-star, the top guys say, are most of the guys going through the motions? They say, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell, but they want the paycheck. They don't really care if the team wins. They'll say they do, and you won't be able to notice, but they really dog it. They just put in the minimum effort. They're getting so many millions and this and that. They're going to hold back because they don't want to get an injury. They don't want to extend themselves. But the people that are all stars, are the people that are MVPs. I mean, you're in New York. We had Lawrence Taylor was the linebacker, all-time great linebacker. I mean, when he hit you, he destroyed you, and he wasn't like going through the motions. And so he's like a legendary Hall of Famer of all time, greatest football player, greatest Giant. And when the people that wind up on top, it's not an accident. They're doing the extras. And the message of these podcasts, like listening to Winners Talk, is to get it in your head that if you do the extras and just do the normal thing, but do extra the normal thing, and just challenge yourself to think, what other spin can I put on this? How much, just if it's an extra appointment a day. I used to say this about appointments, a daily setting up appointments, like, you'd set up 3 appointments every night. If you go to CP, you have three set up. And I used to tell people, if you have 3 set up, they're not all going to be there. You'll have one, one will just not be there. They'll forget about it. They won't show up. One will be yes. And then there'll be a maybe. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But if you want to guarantee appointment, sale or recruit or whatever, have 3 set up,
Right.
Rule of 3. But I said, if you want a guaranteed second sale, set up 4. I said, the 4th appointment is almost always a sale. So if you want 2 sales every night, and all that is you make 1 more appointment and you double your payoff. And so the thing is, that's a simple way of illustrating how the people that do the extras, to squeeze in the 1 more rep, 1 more appointment, 1 more meeting, 1 more promotion, 1 more contest or something with their people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like they explode out the top of the organization. And the secret is that when you do the extras, you multiply your results. And I've always been impressed with how you take your people, and you might be with a brokerage house or something where they run a contest and they take people to wherever.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll go in early and hire, you'll basically have your convention on top of a convention and come up with all these extra things. And some people could say that's just Chris being Chris because, he likes to have that much fun. But no, it's Chris learning how to multiply his payoff, where somebody else is spending money for this. So I'm going to go match it, and I'm going to get a monster payoff out of this thing. Talk about that and how you learned that and some of your experiences from that.
Yeah. So I've learned that most people, they mix up priorities with obligations. And so my priorities, my family, my priorities, my kids, but above your priorities is something called your obligations. And if your obligations are not in place, then all of a sudden your priorities no longer become your priorities. So we have learned how, I had a conversation with a bunch of my VPs, and I go, I understand you do a lot of fancy stuff with your family, but you need to invest back in your business too. Because remember, it's your business that actually takes care of your family. So you can't take all your money and put it in your family. I understand you want to, spend money and do it. You have to be able to. And so, years ago, we found out there's an opportunity for people to raise their level of belief and level of thinking, especially when you're in a business like the one I'm in, where, your goal is to get people to obviously perform at higher levels. They have to be exposed to a different lifestyle. And they're not going to be exposed without you doing that. So I've used exposure, so I'll spend maybe, let's say, 50,000 on a trip or something. I just took, I have a house down in the Dominican. I took 60 people there, and people go, oh my God, you wasted all that money. And I go, you don't know, when people set goals and they dream in their same living room or their same office, it's not the same as when you dream, you set goals on the cliff somewhere overlooking the sunset going down, you just go, man, this is the kind of life I want to live. So we've always just stretched it. We became a master copy. I think it took me 2 years to build my financial company that I have right now. I was involved and I was just doing things, but it took 2 years of me becoming a perfect master copy. And they run very successful agencies because they learned the strategy of just giving a lot more than just, and I see people save pennies and lose millions all the time in our business. And, we've learned how, people go, well, you're lucky you have, blank, 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 cash flow coming in. And I go, no, I worked on this cash flow. This was an intention. Okay. We got it down to where, we can buy properties every couple of months now based on our cash flow. And, but it wasn't that way in the beginning, but we did all the right things. And we all know the difference between the right thing and the wrong thing. And so if we could teach people how to, just kind of copy the right things, which is, in every business, it's different, but we know what we want to teach. And, just paying a little bit, investing a little bit more helps your business grow.
Investing a little bit more, pushing, expanding people's vision a little bit more, but even adding in, what people don't understand is, like, even with the charity things, those are vision expanders. Like you said, you would take people in there. It's like all of a sudden things open up in their minds. They don't, some of the people I haven't interviewed, I've got friends that I don't know if I get to all of my super successful friends on this podcast, but, I have friends that have done amazing things from the charitable type thing. And I won't divulge that, but, it's just changed their life. You just, in terms of giving them stability, giving them sense of self-worth, being, when things go wrong, like, okay, I can handle it, because I've just been able to help a whole lot of other people, see how other people live, be a difference maker. It's not just a vision about bigger lifestyle, but it's expanding the vision of what's possible and the possible, the impact that you could make, and like, the one thing we'll leave with this is tell people, is it worth it? How much is it worth? Is it worth it? Did you really expect this, or does it go beyond what you could have imagined in terms of paying the price early on this thing? because they need to know.
Yeah, it's worth it. It is so worth it. To be happy and be a person that's constantly taking people to the next level. That's worth it. Yeah, the success is awesome. The fancy stuff and the traveling, all that stuff is great. But it really always boils back down to are you happy? And you want to create. I had a conversation with a guy. It says there's strategies in accumulating wealth. You can't save the world, first of all. Okay,
Right.
It's something
Yeah.
that and so when we're talking about giving, it's given when you got, not given before you got. Okay,
Yeah.
so you have to learn that. That's a whole nother talk. Just knowing when's the right time to, and you can't save the world. You got to help the people that want to actually go to the next level. You can't invest time with people that don't want to. Maybe you can get back to them later on, but you need to go put yourself and your family. You got to save you and your family first. Okay, that's the rule.
Right.
And then, after that, you can, bring a lot of people with you, because then you become an example. You become someone that people can look up to. So, it moves people more when there's an example. People belief levels go through the roof when they know you. Especially, a lot of people know me and they go, "You're kind of like the same, but it just your net worth is a little bit different now."
Yeah,
Right.
right. Yeah.
But you're still the same. And so for them, it's kind of confusing, but it's also awesome to them that they can achieve this stuff and they can go after it because they know me and they know, anyone knows me, I'm the same. I'm just regular old me. But, I always get nervous with this type of stuff. But, coaching and, doing podcasts is two different things. Okay?
Yeah.
I think I'm a better coach than a podcast. But
you did.
hey, I can get better. I can get better.
You did great. I mean, this is unbelievable. You look like you do this every day. So look like you got your own radio show, Chris. So
we might start one. You know what?
Yeah, there you go. There's something to think about. So anyway, thanks so much for everything. This is fantastic. That wraps up this episode. Consider leaving a rating and review if you like what you heard. In addition, I have a free video for you, and it contains my best insights from 20 years of running my own business and also coaching $1 million earners. You'll find it at whiteelonwinning.com/webinar. Thanks for listening, and do it big.